Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 13 of the card making countdown, where I'm sharing 14 new card making ideas in 14 days. Today's project takes me way back to the very start of my digital designing journey, back in around 2009. I was a designer on a website called craftsyouprint.com, which is a website full of printable greetings card designs that you cut with scissors. They do now also have a cutting machine section too, but at the time I started, everything was done with scissors. I'm not a designer for them any longer, but I thought I'd go back to one of the cards that I created way back then in 2009. This is a card I created where it combines 3 rectangles with some score lines to turn it into an unusual card that stands up like this. I called them castle cards because it reminded me of the gate going down over the drawbridge to shut off a castle in the time of a siege. What's unusual about these cards is that when they're all folded up, they make this long rectangle. So they're really cute for little note cards or just to say hi cards, or even if you're just looking for something really quick and easy to make. I've done this one, I've left it completely blank without any decorations, but of course you can add whatever you want on here. And of course an envelope template's included too, because otherwise you definitely struggle to find a pre-made envelope that's going to fit this unusual card. As well as this blank template, which is included in today's download, there's also a designed version with a space theme. This one says, "Happy birthday," and it opens up to show all of those extra stars and a rocket ship in the middle. And of course, it stands up just lovely. So what are you waiting for? Get that download started, and then we'll crack on with making our castle cards. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the card making countdown at craftwithsarah.com/cards25. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/cards25 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the card making countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG file into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, then press Upload over on the left and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the file on your computer or drag and drop it in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the folder, and within there are 2 subfolders, Blank Template and Space Card. We'll start off by doing the blank template, and then I'll show you how to make the space card further on in this video. So we'll look in blank template, and then from there you can choose the relevant folder for your type of cutting machine. If you're using a Cricut, choose the 01 Cricut version folder. If you're using a cutting machine other than a Cricut, head to craftwithsarah.com/help, choose your type of machine from the list on the screen, and then that will give you access to a separate video on how to choose the correct file for your machine. But as I said, for Cricut, we're going in 01 Cricut version, and there'll be one file in there which starts SVG-01 in the file name. Drag that in, and this is what it looks like. Press Continue, and then on the next screen, press Upload. And then it will insert the castle card template onto your project. It should load in at 8 inches wide and 9 inches tall. If yours is different, change that to match. We need to add some score lines to the template. First, click on the design and press the Ungroup button at the top of the Layers panel to separate out all the layers. Then scroll down to the very bottom of the Layers panel and you'll see the base card, which is the large red card. Click the arrow next to it in the Layers panel and then scroll down. Then click on the layer which looks like 4 vertical lines. You can see I've got that selected over here. Then in the Operations menu on the top of the screen, change it to Score. Click in the Layers panel to select that whole mini group. So now we've got the base card, the red layer, and those score lines selected. You can tell because it's all highlighted in this green colour. And then with all of those selected, press Attach down at the bottom of the Layers panel. Attach is what tells the Cricut that we want it to do the scoring actually on this little base card. When you attach something, it moves it to the top of the Layers panel, which is now why it's now gone all the way up here and we can't see anything else. To move it back, press Arrange, Center Back, and now I can see all those other pieces again. And now your castle card is ready for you to add any customization or decorations you want to in Cricut Design Space, or you could cut it out as is and add your decorations later. I'm going to keep mine nice and simple and just cut it out as is. I'm using patterned paper for these blue pieces, and then I've got 2 shades of purple for my base. I'm going to use a lighter shade for the very bottom card and a darker bit to go around the edge of my pattern paper. To make it easier to remember which colours to use, let's change them. So I'll click on one of those dark red pieces and change it to a dark purple. And then go to Colour Sync on the top of the Layers panel. Drag all of that dark red into the purple and it will change it all in one go. And then I'll go back to Layers, scroll down, open up the Attach group and click on the very bottom layer, the red one, and change that to a bright purple, probably more like that one. You don't have to change the colours, it's just a nice way to remind yourself which card to put on the mat at which point. I'll keep these ones in bright blue to remind me that this is for my pattern scrapbook paper. The white piece over here is your message panel. This will be stuck on the back of the card, so I recommend leaving this in white or using another light colour so that when you're drawing on it, your pens can be seen. And then this is ready to cut. So I'm going to go ahead and press Make, and that will separate out all the different colours. You can change the paper size in the drop down here. And then if you want to, you can click and drag to move things about, or you can rotate them to use up less space on your cardstock. You'll need to go through each colour individually if you want to change the paper size or move things about. When you're happy with how everything's looking, press Continue to connect to your Cricut and follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut out from your cardstock. Here are all the pieces of my castle card cut out and ready to be stuck together. I've laid all the bits one on top of the other so I can make sure I'm gluing the right pieces to the right backings. First up though, let's fold the card. So here's the base card. I've got my score lines down here. First up, we'll do the 2 lines that connect the middle rectangle. And for these, we're going to valley fold, which means we're going to fold the side bits inwards along that little score line, like that. And then it makes the shape of a V. Look at it. That way, the point is at the bottom, which is why it's called a valley fold. And then the same the other side. And then we'll do the opposite for the 2 score lines down the front rectangles, and this is called a mountain fold. So this time the point of the fold comes upwards like the top of a mountain. And I've used textured card, which means it's really hard to see where the score line is. There we go. So this time that point is coming up to the top. And now the side should fold inwards like that. And then the same on the other one. So a mountain fold down that pretty invisible score line. There we go. And then that will fold in. And there is our finished card. And it stands up nicely. Now we can add all the decorations. I'll be gluing these together, putting the lighter pattern paper onto all of the darker shapes to go underneath, and then gluing it onto the base card. The glue I'm using is Barely Art Glue, but I also like Halal. The reason I like these glues is they don't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do. If you want to, you can use foam squares to stick the darker rectangles onto your card, but I'm going to keep it all with glue. They just go right in the middle so that you've got a nice even amount of that darker colour showing all the way around. Like, ooh, if I can pick it up, like that. And then do the same for the 4 thin pieces. And finally, we've got the message panel to go on the darker piece underneath. And now we can start attaching these to the base card. I'll start with my middle bit, which will go in there. And I'm going to keep this one plain. I'm not going to add any extra embellishments onto it, just so that you can see how the template looks when it's cut out as is. But of course you could add other toppers or images or anything you like on there. And then all of these bits are the same size, so it doesn't matter which one you put on which of the front sections. Evenly space them so you can see an even amount of the base card around all of the sides. Then turn it over and glue the message panel onto the back. It's the perfect shape to add a little greeting to for the back of the card. And that's my castle card base template all finished. So it folds in like this, which makes it quite an unusual shape for a card, which means we're going to need a custom envelope. Luckily, there's one included in your download folder. Here's how to use it in Design Space. Here's the SVG file for the envelope loaded into Design Space. It should load in at 7.5 inches wide by 14.5 inches tall, which makes it the perfect size to fit the castle cards. This is made up of one central rectangle piece with some tabs on it, and then 4 triangular shaped bits, which is how it will stick on the flaps. We need to do a little bit of formatting first before this is ready to cut to add the score lines to the middle rectangle bit. First, click on the design and ungroup the layers. Then find the rectangular bit, which you'll know because it's got an arrow next to it in the layers panel, and click the arrow to open it up. Click the first layer within that group that looks like a rectangle, and then when you look at it in the operation, the colour should be blue. Change it to score, then click to select the group of both of those rectangles and press attach. As you can see, that's only attached the score lines to that rectangular piece. It hasn't attached all the triangle bits to it. That's intentional. If you accidentally attach everything together, it means that it will be too big for the Cricut to cut. Then you can go ahead and get this cut out. I like using double-sided scrapbook paper for envelopes because it means that when the envelope is opened, there'll be another little pattern on the inside for a bit of extra ooh when the envelope gets opened. But you can use regular cardstock or thick paper or whatever it is that you want to use. If you'd like to know how to get your Cricut to write the address for whoever you'll be sending this to, check out the Foundation Learning section for the Card Making Countdown, which is available on the schedule page. In that Foundation Learning box, there's a link to a separate tutorial on how to get your Cricut to write and address envelopes. Here are all the pieces of the envelope cut out. I've used a pretty double-sided paper, so the inside of my envelope will have this nice pattern and the outside will be plain purple. First, I'm going to turn this upside down and fold along all of the score lines. I find for making envelopes, double-sided tape's a little bit easier than glue because it means everything will stick straight away. I'll turn this round again, so now this is the side I want on the outside of my envelope, and go down all the tabs with my double-sided tape. If you go a little bit over the edge like I've done, bend the tape backwards so you don't have any overhanging. Then line up the 4 triangles and stick them up, right up so they line up along the scores. Turn it over and then we'll fold the 2 smaller sides in and one of the bigger sides over. And this time I'll use glue. Usually I use tape, but then I go over the edge and make it really messy. So we're going to give glue a try and see if that works better. Now I need to hold it in place till it dries, which is the disadvantage of glue over tape. Maybe that's going to need something heavy on it for a while. Right, let's give that a moment to dry, and then we'll be back to check how the envelope is looking. My glue's dry, so there's my teeny tiny castle card envelope all finished. Moment of truth. Fold it up, and it should slide in there absolutely perfectly, like that. And then the top flap can be folded over, like that. And then that's all ready to be glued or taped shut, or you could use a wax seal if you're feeling fancy. And then it's all ready to be given to whoever it is you're giving your castle card to. The Space Card template can be found in the unzipped version of your download folder. This time look in the Space Card subfolder, and then once again for Cricut Design Space go into the 01 Cricut version folder, and then this is the file that you would want to upload. As you can see, I've already uploaded it, and this is how it comes in. It's almost ready to cut. We just need to do what we did on the blank template, which is to format the score line. It's quite hard to see the lines on this one because the bottom bit here, the dark blue, is very dark, but I promise you the lines are still there. To find them, click the design, ungroup it, and then once again go down to the very bottom and you'll find the base card. Click the arrow to open it up, and then click on the 4 vertical lines, change it to score, and then click to select that whole mini group. So now we've got the base card and those score lines selected, and press attach. Attach moves it to the top, so we need to move it back to the bottom so we can see everything else. Go arrange, center back. And just like that, that is now ready to cut out. Very, very simple. Here are the pieces of the space-themed castle card all cut out, and I've already stuck on the bottom bits here and the message panel on the back, and I've done the folding of the base card as that goes together in the same way as when we did the main template, this one, just a moment ago. I like that when this is all folded up, it says the happy birthday, and then you open it out and you've got that surprise of the stars. Or if you took it out this way, it still looks nice because you can see the stars down the bottom. Alright, so the thing that's different about this one is our top section, as we've got some more layers going on here to make up the picture. We'll start off with the space and starry sky, and this will be glued on to the yellow rectangle. Then you can continue gluing, or you can use some foam squares for a little bit of extra depth, which is what I'm going to do. Get the orange, making up the flame, turn it over, and add foam squares on the back. Peel the tops off to reveal the stickiness underneath. Then line it up so that the flames coming out the bottom are on the bottom right of that black rectangle. Then glue the yellow on top. Next up, we've got the red to glue on. Then the white. And finally, the very thin little red rectangle. You could leave this off if you wanted to, because it does look fine with the white instead. And there's my rocket. Then this can all get glued to the middle of my card. Leave a nice amount of the blue around all of the sides, and I'll give that a couple of seconds for the glue to hold. Now I can fold it all in, stand it up, and my space-themed castle card is all done. It's a lovely addition at showing how to add extra details to turn it from something like this into something with a theme. I hope that you've enjoyed this video on how to make castle cards with your Cricut machine. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more card making and Cricut videos. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 14, the final day of the card making countdown. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!